thank you to Sarah and the Chamber for hosting the event. And a big thank you to each and every one of you that's attended the event. My name is Wicus van Biljon. You can hear from this deep Scottish accent, the heart of Scotland. This is my colleague Graham Robson. We'll be presenting Breaking Big to you. And I'd like the presentation to be really interactive. It's really informal. If you need to ask questions, please ask questions. And one thing we've learned through these presentations, there's no such thing as a dumb or a stupid question, because 90% of the people sitting next to you are wanting to ask that same question, but nobody's got the courage to ask it. And believe it, I'm going to be asking some questions of you during the course of the presentation. So if you could do that. And then if we're going too fast, you don't understand something, please stop us and ask us, and we'll try and clarify it for you. Do you want to tell people a little bit more about Business Doctors?
Yeah, so Business Doctors is a national network of business advisors. And I guess what makes us different is the sense that we don't provide prescriptive solutions to businesses in how they should fix their issues. You know, we don't have the right to tell you how to run your business. What we do is spend a lot of time listening to businesses and helping to understand what those issues are, and helping business owners acquire the tools themselves to deal with those issues and provide them the support. And we find that's a lot more sustainable than trying to give a business some prescriptive plan that they've got to stick to, because we don't work that way. We don't solve our issues by having a prescriptive approach to life, because the phone goes, customers ring, stuff happens in the business, and it's more of a journey than just a straight line. I think that's what makes us different. Maybe today's session you'll hear some more of that.
Excellent. I'm going to start off the presentation by playing a little bit of a video clip.
There has been a subtle change of tone from the Governor of the Bank of England. Before the referendum, you would have struggled to hear the word positive fall from Mark Carney's lips, but he did use the word today, at least about some of the economic indicators post the big vote. Now, why is that?
The country is now split as never before, north versus south, young versus old.
The British people have voted to leave the European Union.
This is our territory. Now, why aren't we exploiting that?
Because it's not our territory.
Because we lack initiative.
Initiative.
Exponential growth, that's the key. You know the business, and I know the chemistry.
So as you can see, there's opportunity everywhere. It just depends on how you look at it. And we've taken a little bit of a segment from Breaking Bad, which is an American series. And for those of you who don't know, just a quick recap. It's a high school science teacher. He contracts a terminal lung disease. He wants to provide for his family, and he realizes his pension isn't going to cut it. So he decides to manufacture a form of crystal amphetamine, and him and a student then proceed on distributing it. And here comes the disclaimer. Although we don't advocate the selling, distribution, or manufacturing of crystal meth, it does go to show that every opportunity starts with a plan. So what do we learn from Breaking Big? Because it does teach some valuable business lessons. They in a commoditized market, and I don't know if any of you are in a market where price is everything. Well, what did they do? They differentiated themselves. So they created a better product, they changed the color of the product, and they tried to sell the product to a different market, and they tried to expand and grow their market. So there are opportunities everywhere. Great.
Yeah, I think that's right. So really it's about differentiating your business and your product and creating that value. And I know that their market was somewhat different to what our market would be, and they both faced a lot of different challenges. But that's really the essence of creating some value in your business.
So when we work with business owners, we've seen that businesses are in one of those 4 stages. And I want to say to you from the outset, these aren't sort of consequential stages. You don't go from a startup to a lifestyle business. Your business is at different stages at different times. So the startup business in survival mode, it is exactly what it is where is the next sale going to come from? So a very typical example is you're buying a product, you're delivering a service, you're sending it to the customer, he pays you, and so the cycle continues in it. A lifestyle business, now that is a great business because it's all about you, it's what you want to get out of that business. But it is also a risky business because a lifestyle business is really, really dependent on you and your ability to work. So what would happen if you're not able to work? And then the second factor that comes in, what if your business starts to grow? Because there's only 24 hours in a day. How would you deal and cope with that growth? A scalable business. So all those great opportunities you've identified, how do you turn them into revenue? How do you build a business that is not just reliant and dependent on you? Every business needs to grow, and you need to make the best decision to make that business grow. And then a saleable business, that is to get your business into the best possible shape to maximize its value, so you have the freedom to choose. It's that term that they use, working on your business, not in your business. So does that resonate with some of you, your businesses? Can you identify them in some of those stages of your business?
Anybody in the startup phase? And it is about survival, really, getting that first 3 years under your belt where your business is sustainable. Anybody sort of got past that point? Lifestyle? Yeah. The problem with lifestyle is that we can sometimes get a bit comfortable. It's generating income, it's paying the bills. And I've spoke to business owners that have said, I'm quite happy with that, I don't want to do any more, I don't want to take any risks. The problem is, there's a train chasing you, which is your competition. And if you don't continue to grow, they will, and they're going to overtake you. It's always a risky place to be, and you tend to be working very hard ultimately to keep it propped up. Scalable? Anybody standing back and growing? Yeah, it's a hard transition. It's hard to transition from lifestyle. I've seen businesses owners working 7 days a week, and as a chap I was working with, and he took his business from 1.5 to 2.5 million turnover. When I met him, his request of me was to reduce the size of his business to get it back to where it was manageable. Him and his wife had to plan 3 months to take 5 days holiday. And invariably, on the Friday they were due to go away, he'd tell his wife, I'm sorry, I've got to go back on the job. So when I asked them what they wanted, she said, I want my husband back. And so getting to scalable is hard. He was trying to scale without the ability to scale. Saleable is where we want to take businesses to. And what that means is you're standing back, you are directing your business, you've got it growing in a nice risk-managed way, but you're able to have the freedom to either sell it if you wanted to at some point, to grow it and continue to scale it, to stand back as its chairman, or pass it on to family. And that's the ideal place we want to get businesses to ultimately. It means it's an efficient and effective business.
So I said to you that there's going to be a little bit of an interactive session. For those of you with businesses, can I just say a quick show of hands, who's got a business plan? so let me clarify, that's not right or wrong. It's just a question. And then to follow on from that question, sort of who's reviewed that business plan against the last sort of 6 months result, adjusted it, and then planned a little bit forward. And the point I'm trying to illustrate is a business plan is really created for a specific purpose. You create it for the banks to raise finance, or for an investor, and then it's put into the bottom drawer and nobody ever looks at it again. So what we say is ditch the plan, because strategy matters. And when we say the word strategy or strategic plan, a lot of people cringe because they think it's these massive volumes that you read through, countless Excel spreadsheets that you have to complete. It's going to take 20 days out of your 20-day working week. So how am I going to grow my business? We say it's quite simply, it's not that. Firstly, create a plan that is your plan. It needs to be your plan. It needs to be simple and easy to understand. No complex words, no jargon, easy to understand. it needs to have some relevant measurable criteria. You need to be able to track your journey to say, this is a milestone, this is what we want to achieve by this time. It needs to be living, breathing. It needs to guide the activities of your company, of your business. And very important, in that journey, it needs to be something that your whole staff, your whole organization can get behind in it. So when you design a plan, firstly make sure it's your plan. You're not buying something from somebody else, it's something that you want. It's very personal to you. It needs to be easy to understand. It has to have some clear, measurable, specific goals in it. It's got to guide the day-to-day activities of your business. Your whole organization needs to get behind it.
So, out of all the businesses that we work with, I have never yet met an owner that says, I stay awake at night because I don't have a strategy. That's not something that we sit there and worry about. But what we do stay awake at night is things like cash flow. How am I going to pay the bills? I've got a big VAT bill coming in I haven't planned for. I've lost a major client that's costing me 30% of my business. My staff don't like me. Or my staff aren't motivated. They haven't got the same values as me. These are the things that keep us awake. And we try to deal with them in that sort of isolated context. So if I've lost a major client, I've got to try and refix that. I've got to go find another client. Without planning, without a strategy, without a 3-year horizon, we can't put that into context. So why strategy is important, a living, breathing document, is because then you can say, what am I going to achieve over the next 3 years? Things like sales planning, the people you hire, the premises you move to for expansion, all of these things have their place. Funding, bank debt, all of these things have their place in a 3-year plan, and that's why we advocate doing that.
So, being in business is difficult. Would you agree? It's a lonely place being a business owner, because everybody you speak to think business owners always have it all together. They think, what does a business owner need to worry about? He's got it all together. But it is the now show, and it is really about you. So something happened, there has been an event in your life, or it's an event that you decided, I want to start my own business. There's a reason why you did this. So this gives you the opportunity to take a step back and say, why did I start this business? What do I want from this business? And it's really personal. It's for you. Because then when you look at your business, you can see, is this business delivering what I want out of this business? So one of my first takeaways out of today is, if you've got some time, and you need time, you need peace and quiet, go back and write down what you want out of your business and why you started that business. And it's no lofty business ideals, it's really personal. It relates to the individual.
Yeah, it's taking that time out. It's kind of like saying, when we started a business, we had great ideas. We said, we're going to work with the best customers, going to hire the best people. I really want a work-life balance. You knew what you wanted. When we get stuck into the business and we're working really, really hard, we lose sight of that, and the business consumes us. What we're saying is, the first part is just standing back and looking at what you want, reconnecting with what you want personally, and then look at, can the business deliver what your aspirations are? Separates you out from the business is the first step of standing back.
You need to build your business on firm foundations, and we talk about values. Now, what is a value? Value lives inside you. It's not something, it's very difficult to put a value into words. It is what you stand for, it's what you believe in, it's why you believe in certain things. Maybe why you get up in the morning. It's why you get on better with some people than you get on with other people. So to put a core value into words is always the hardest part our clients struggle with, because people use lofty words like honesty, integrity, and sometimes you think, how do you live it? But a very easy way to describe a core value to you is, think about something you don't like. So somebody is rude, is aggressive. You want the core value, you want them, you don't like somebody that's rude and aggressive. The core value would be kindness. So it's exactly the opposite of what you don't like is a core value. So why is a core value important? A core value will determine what your business looks like and what your business stands for. And each and every time that you or any of your clients engage, or you or any of your staff engage with your clients or your suppliers, your core values are displayed and you're being looked at it. So if you look at it, when you employ staff, very often we look at staff and we say, this guy's got a great CV. We're going to employ him based on his 20 years worth of experience. He's got great skills. But if you think about it, if his core values are the same as yours, It's going to be a lot easier for him to buy into your organization. He still needs to have the relevant skills and experience and expertise. Why is core values important? You need to share those core values. It's no good in writing them on a wall or keeping them to yourself. The staff or your employees, they need to buy into this. They need to identify with it. And one of the things that I can share about core values is we had a client working in the shop fitting business, and he was an absolute perfectionist. When he had to hand over, he was ready 3 days before. You could walk into that, you could plug in a plug, sockets work, lights work, no snagging required. Business grew, he was very, very happy, and he said, you know what, I need an operations manager to take care of this aspect of my business for me. Went out, found a guy with a top CV, greatest skills, greatest set of experience that you can find. And when we started to engage with this client, customer complaints were at an all-time high. Contracts that he would normally get without even having to bid for them weren't coming his way. A little bit of a investigation into it meant operation manager came from a home building association type environment, and what they did is they delivered on time. If you needed to take delivery on Monday, 5 o'clock on Monday, you'll take delivery. No snagging done. So people go in, they go, this is not working, and he'd refer to the contract because that's the way he was taught. This is what the contract says, and they would fight over little things that the owner wouldn't have even thought about it. So just looking at that example, you can see there's a clear disconnect. The owner had a certain set of values. The employee didn't identify with those values. So there's a disconnect, and hence the reason why a very expensive exercise for him.
Yeah, I think it's a really important issue. When we think of values, we kind of think, oh, that's all that corporate stuff. When I first ran a business, I went on the internet and thought I'd steal some good values, like trust, integrity. Oh, that was great. I put that around the walls. It looks brilliant, right? But that's not what we're saying, because the values are sitting right inside of you right now. The reason why you're here today, the reason why you work with the people that you work with, that's what sits inside you. You've got a choice. Your choice is to articulate those values clearly and hire people that share those values, or turn up at your business one day and find the people that you've employed have different values to you. And that's a huge disconnect when that occurs. Like the story that Wicus has just told. I had a tarmac guy that was the same story, and he used to lay tarmac for little, and he wanted it pristine, perfect looking, and he had a civils contractor that was laying the curbstones, brand new little store. He said to his tarmac guys, do not get your horrible dirty tarmac boots over those curbstones. I want it to be pristine. He came back at the end of the day, and lo and behold, all the curbstones are full of tarmac, tar boots and all that. This is a £2.5 million business. So what does our entrepreneur do? He gets on his hands and knees with white spirit and cleans the curbstones. What's his workers doing? Standing around watching him. So you can see the difference in the values. You don't want to wake up one day and see that in your business. The benefit of articulating the values is you get all the staff behind you. It's something to be proud of and get them to be pulling in the same direction. So it is vitally important.
So the second takeaway then from today is, again, take some time, write down what your core values would be, and take it a step further. Start talking to your staff. Ask them what they think your business looks like, what your business stands for. And if you have a few trusted clients, you could ask them, what do they think your business looks like, and what it sort of stands for. So earlier on, I've met most of you, and I've got quite an idea of what everybody does. But I would like to know why you do the what. And normally when I ask that question, people look perplexed. They're like, what does it mean? And it's quite simply, why are clients buying from you? What need are you fulfilling for clients that other people can't? Why would people choose you over somebody else? What needs and motivations are you meeting? And are your clients' needs and motivations changing? And are you staying abreast with all those changes in needs and motivations of your clients? We've seen some great corporate failures over the last couple of years where companies failed to take into account their clients' needs, aspirations, motivations. Blockbuster, most notably, thought videos would last forever. Ironically, Netflix was offered to them in 2000 for $50 million, and they said, this streaming service will never work. Another one, Kodak. Kodak said, our customers are loyal to the hilt. It's a £1 billion company. Today, I think, I struggle. There's nothing for Kodak around, is there? There's nothing for Kodak around. So you need to think beyond your products and services. So normally when I do this, I ask, is there any motorcycle enthusiasts in the room? Because now I'm going to have to do it the long way around. So I have a few friends that are motorcycle enthusiasts, and when I talk to them, they say, you know what, we're going to buy a Harley Davidson. I go, so you're going to buy a motorcycle? And they look at me and they're like, disapprovingly. They go, what? They go, it's a motorcycle. They go, no. It's the freedom of the open road. And I'm like, it's a motorcycle. They go, no, my friend. It's the freedom of the open road. So what does that mean? So Harley Davidson in the 80s and 90s couldn't compete against Kawasaki, Yamaha coming into the US market. Harley Davidson shareholders didn't want to put money into modernizing the plant. So what did Harley do? They decided to sell an experience, a lifestyle. So my question to you is, what is your freedom of the open road to your clients? What does that mean to your clients?
Yeah, so if we think of some of the examples here, which are quite clear, Black & Decker sell drills. So we want, we go and buy a drill. But they're not really selling drills, are they? They're selling holes. And if we could find another way to put a hole in wood, wall, whatever, we wouldn't buy a drill, would we? So that's an example. They sell drills. Have you heard of Simon Sinek? He does TED Talks. You've heard of Simon. I'm going to do a bit of Simon for you. We use green. I'm going to use blue. So he's got something called the golden circles. So he describes it sort of like, look at these perfect circles, guys. So most of us describe what we do. So if we're a lawyer, we do commercial law, we do employment law, we do whatever. If we're a photographer, we take photographs, we may describe that slightly differently. If we're the chamber, we do meetings, we help businesses, we tend to describe the things that we do. Some businesses describe how they do it, and that tends to be the area of differentiation. What makes us different is when we describe how. So it could be we're ISO 9000, 14000, we have great customer service and all these sort of things. They're temporary differentiation that your competition soon catches up to. Very few companies describe why they do what they do. This is what a company believes in. So why is this important? It's very hard to do this. To sit and think why you do what you do as an organization is the essence of the value that you create. It requires a part of your brain to engage where language does not reside. So understanding your why is a huge challenge to go through, but it's vitally important. Here's why. I'm going to describe a company and see if you guys get it. If you've listened to Simon Sinek and you know what I'm going to do, please don't spoil it. So this company's why: we believe in doing things differently. We believe in challenging the status quo. Anybody know who that is? Could be anybody, couldn't it? How? In doing things differently, we make beautifully designed products that are easy to use and user-friendly. Any idea? Apple. We happen to make great computers. Would you like to buy one? We happen to make great tablets. Would you like to buy one? We happen to make IP3 players, which are now phones. Right? There's a company in Singapore that made the IP3 player 20 months before Apple. They described it by having how much RAM it had, how much memory it had and all that. Apple described it, would you like 1,000 tunes in your pocket? Of course we would. We happen, and it changed the way we listen to music. We happen to make great apps. It changed the way we buy music, and as we spoke before, the music shops went bust. Challenge the status quo, do things differently. We happen to make great watches. Maybe not. But you see, what you do is a validation of what you believe in. So, why is that vitally important? Because people will buy from you based on what you believe, not from what you do. So, if people buy from you based on what you believe, why should we describe what we do? We should describe why we do it. And we do that in storytelling, we do that in video, we do that in blogs, We do all that lovely stuff. Our website should ooze what we believe in. Does that make sense? Sorry.
So, the sort of next takeaway we would like you to do is find out what are your customers actually buying from you, and why are they buying it from you. And I always get people cringing, thinking, oh, I'm going to have to spend money on SurveyMonkey. It's going to be fantastically expensive. I'm going to give you the shortcut. Go speak to your clients. Go speak to your customers. 9 out of 10 times when you talk to your customers, they will tell you why they buy from you and what you're doing for them that other people can't do for them. So it's quite a quick, easy win. Just a little story around this what business we're in. We were dealing with I think I would describe him, he would describe himself as an IT contractor. So he was laying cables, had quite a successful business in terms of professional services, lawyers, accountants. And when we started to ask him around what business you're in, he said, no, I'm in IT, my clients know that. Until he had a conversation with one of his clients, and he said to him, what do I do? The client said to him, you're a project manager. He said, oh, I beg your pardon? He said, yeah, you're a project manager. He said, how do you make that out? He goes, no, whenever a new staff member or a new member of staff have to start, we just phone you. The computer's at the desk, it's working. You can just walk in, sit down and start working. When we have to move stuff, it just gets done. So although IT is a very important part of what he does, clients didn't buy that he was an IT guy. They bought the fact that he offered them so much more service in terms of project management. So, are you ready to make big? How big is your vision? How big is that opportunity that's out there? And the question really here is, what is a vision? So, a vision is something that you aspire to. It doesn't have to be achievable. A lot of people say a vision has to be achievable. So, if I ask you what's your vision for your company, you say I want to grow revenue by 10% for the next 3 years, that's business. If you want to grow it by 20%, that's aggressive business. So a vision is really something that you aspire to. If there's no constraints, if there's nothing holding you back, if we give you a blank canvas, what would you like your business to achieve? It's very important that this vision has to be clear, it has to be specific, and it has to be measurable.
Yeah, so typically when we work with businesses, we're looking at doubling their size in 3 years. And well, that seems a tall order. But if you did half of that, you'd be happy. And it's just breaking out from that focuses your brain to say, right, how are we going to do that?
So a quick story around this visionary goal is we worked with a training company doing roughly about £350,000 a year. And we have a planning day where there's more than one shareholder. And that's normally a little bit more tricky because you've got different people with different values, and to align them is quite challenging. So the one partner being an accountant, and I apologize to any accountants because I am an accountant as well. So he said, you know what, in 3 years' time, if we do 500,000, I'm going to be happy. His partner nearly fell off the chair and said, this is a £10 million business, my friend. Get on the same page. So 2 hours of negotiation and compromise. We compromised on £3 million would be the 3-year strategic vision. In year number 3, they were on track to do 5.7 million. So a vision is something that really pushes you to achieve what you need to achieve. So where are we at this point of the junction? So we understand why we are in business and what we want from our business. We know what we want our business to look like and what we want our business to stand for. We know why we are valuable to our clients and why they'll be buying for us. And we've got this great vision. And now we need to test this vision. We need to take this vision out into the wide world to see, does it make sense to form this vision? And this vision the technical term is future-proofing your business, but it's the big bad world out there. This is something that you have no control over. It is what's happening in technology, and one of my favorite sort of advertisements is I see a little boy with a tablet running around taking pictures. He's sending emails, he's doing his homework, he's completing Excel spreadsheets, and his neighbor pops over the fence and she goes, oh, I like your computer. And he looks at it and he goes, what's a computer? So that's just the changes that's happening. Brexit, we spoke earlier about Brexit. There's nothing you can do about it. But it's no use burying your head in the sand. So we need to scan the horizon to look for changes in technology, changes in people's patterns, spending patterns, behaviors, how they react to things.
And it's really to see if any of these are going to positively or negatively impact the vision that you have for the future. Are they going to help you achieve it? Are they going to negatively impact it?
So that'll give us some opportunities and easy wins, but we need to look at our market and that vision that we want to realize. We need to look at our market, and we do that by just asking a couple of questions. Is what market are we in? How big is this market? Is it growing? Who are our customers? And we rank them. And what are our customers buying from us? What are our customers buying from our competitors? Can we be supplying them? What products and services are we supplying? There's a lock manufacturer out there who's got 15,000 items of locks. I'm going to take a guess of how many of them is actually selling. 736. So he's got all those locks, those products, and he keeps them for maybe just in case. And what we would like to do is we would like to identify those opportunities, and the routes to market is just a word for opportunities, to realize your vision in order to get to your most valuable customer. We'll touch a little bit about a most valuable customer a little bit later on, but one of the customers that we were working on, we had one client when we did this whole market analysis, providing 20% of his revenue, 6-digit number, at 1% margin. And the question is quite simply, why are you doing it? It's like eating soup with a fork. You stay very, very busy, but you also stay very, very hungry. So imagine if you could take the resources that you have and pump it into your most valuable client in order to get the revenue from him.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about this vision of growth, when we do this exercise with clients, we're looking for where that growth is. And if we're taking a business from 1 million to 2 million, so we've got additional million of growth, we're spending time here on a planning day looking where that 1 million is coming from. What customers, we rank the top 10 customers, we're looking at profit margin, we're looking at what they're buying from us. Are we really fulfilling all of the capability that we have to supply? And invariably, we will find that growth opportunity sitting right here on this exercise. This tends to be right under our nose.
So it's about finding the right opportunity. But what is the right opportunity? And we need to look at what internal resources we have available. What do we have in our business? And quite simply, this is what's working in your business, what's not working in your business. What do you need to improve and what do you need to change? And we've given it this really nice acronym called GIVE. So what is your business great at? Is it great at customer service? Is it great at product delivery? Where do your business need to improve? Is it, ironically, customer service? Do you need to be able to fulfill products? Do you need to plan better? Where are you vulnerable? And very often vulnerable people just relate that to what happens with their competitors. But have a look at your business. Are you just too reliant on a handful of customers or a handful of suppliers? Are you competing on cost? Is the cost base an issue? And then the edge. What sets your business aside from other businesses? What makes it different? What makes it better? So in order to do that, we ask you 3 really big questions. What makes your business different? What makes you better? And then we have something what we call the so what test. Okay? When you look at what makes a business different, is your clients need to be able to easily identify what makes your business different. Not something complex, it's something easy. That when you sit in front of them, they say, I deal with him because he's different like that. What makes you better is also something that you need to do that's different to your competitors. And does it pass the so what test? So, little example is we're dealing with a event planning company, and we said to him, what makes you different, what makes you better? They go, service. I'm like, come on, service. Everybody expects service. He goes, no, wait, let me explain to you. What makes us different in terms of service is we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, right here from the UK. Just because it's nighttime in the UK doesn't mean that anywhere else in the world it's nighttime. So you could be sitting in America, in Africa, in Australia. You could book a conference, somebody will take your call, somebody will book it, send it through. What makes us better? They were doing an event at Brighton Pier. The caterers were running behind time, so the staff immediately jumped in, started serving drinks, helping it. So clients and potential clients see it. But differentiation is very difficult to maintain. It needs to be ingrained, and everybody in the organization needs to be working at it. So we use this model, and I promise you this is sort of the only model that we use for this. So
just a quick question. How many of you folks in the room here compete on price? It tends to be a common thing. We products and services, we're worried about how do they price against the competition, are we putting the right price in and all that sort of stuff. Certainly in small SMEs, when it's owner managed, we tend to do all the customer interaction. And the customer suddenly says, oh, by the way, John, could you do some of this? Oh, yeah, sure, we'll do that. Jane, can you do some of this? Oh, sure, we will. And you end up doing lots of things for the customer at very low margin. And then you get into this trap, which we call the killing fields.
The killing fields. So, what are we trying to achieve here is we want to sell the right thing to the right customer in the right way. And so normally what happens is you can't be everything to everybody like Graham just described. You can't be everything. You need to be focused in what you do. So you can either differentiate yourself by cost, by being different, or by being niche. So cost focus is really for big companies that's got economies of scale. So the likes of a Tesco that can negotiate 90 days. If I take 100,000 units, I take them at 80 pence. If I take 200, I take them at 70 pence. After 90 days, I send it back and I pay you 120 days. So not really viable for small companies. And the aim is to get you away from being cost focused by differentiating yourself or by becoming niche. So differentiation is making you different to what your competitors are doing, different to what the people out there are doing.
Yeah, so we spoke about the so what test just before, and we spoke about the give with the edge, and that's where we look at that differentiation quite closely to say what makes us different. And it's vitally important that we do that. And it takes a bit of time and brain power to think that through. When we previously spoke about our why and what we believe in, and people believing the same things will buy from us. And we spoke about our most valuable customers. Our most valuable customers are the folks that believe in the same things as us. When we look at the top 10 customers of our clients, we're looking for those customers that pay a higher margin. The customers that pay a higher margin are the ones that actually get what we believe in. They believe the same things. They get the value. They are our most valuable customers, not the ones who are spending all the time and effort for low margin servicing that are higher demand. So it's really looking at your most valuable customers are where your niche focus will be. So differentiate, be different, work hard at that. And I would challenge anyone, regardless of your sector, that you can differentiate. And once you differentiate, identify your most valuable customers by the ones that believe in the same things that you believe, and niche yourself into that box. And if you do that, you are going to stay out of the competing on price scenario.
So niche is really niche is not sector specific. You can actually put yourself into a niche sector. We dealt with a client involved in vending. Now vending is pence. People move for pence. And he was tired of just constantly moving for 2-3 pence. We decided to differentiate themselves by selling healthy snacks. But 6 out of 10 people, when you have the healthy option and the unhealthy option in front of you, still going to take the unhealthy option because they want to have a little bit of sugar. It's not so bad. So you needed a real market for it. And at that time, there was a whole drive at schools for children to be healthier. So he placed his vending machines into the school. So he moved himself out of a cost-focused industry by doing things differently to his competitors into a niche market. And I think there's no one challenging him in that environment at the moment. So now we have established what clients believe in, what we believe in, so we can sell the right thing to the right customer in the right way. And one of the challenges that most of our clients face is implementing the strategy or getting staff to do it. And one of the key areas that we find is the owner's trap. And that is something that's really common. It's when the value of the business resides in you as the person instead of the business as well. So the owner is out there, he's selling, he's the face of the business. If there's an issue, they don't phone the office, they phone the owner, they say to him, this is a problem, fix it. He's offering too many things to too many people. And I think Graham alluded to it a little bit earlier, as we often see that businesses are built around people. And you walk into your business one day and the people, the values, your values is not on display anymore. It's the people that are working in your business. And it's quite often because your business has been built around people. And the way to describe this is, and a real takeaway from you is, rather build people around your business. So go away today and write down what you would like your organization to look like. Managing director, sales director, operations director. These are the staff that need to report to them. Write down, be very specific. Write down the roles, responsibilities. Don't put in names, just put in job titles so that you can see where it goes to.
Any single person businesses in the room? Yeah. It's a bit alien to say we'll do an organisation chart. However, there are 4 key roles in any business, regardless of its size. 4 key roles are managing director. Managing director is about vision of the future, direction where the business is going, and planning for that. Next job is sales director. Someone's got to go out there and do the selling. The next job is the operations director. Someone's got to actually deliver what you're selling. And the last job is the admin director. Someone's got to clean up the mess of the other two. Whether you're a one-man band or not, they are the hats that you need to be wearing. And if you start thinking about those hats you need to wear, as you build your business, you will then make yourself redundant by bringing people into those roles. But you need to spend time in each of those roles. You need to spend 20% of your time being the MD. You need to be planning, saying where is this business going, and creating the environment for yourself that allows you to think that through. What we tend to do is we default to where we're most comfortable. If we're outgoing and gregarious, we're selling. We love all that. We hate doing all the delivery, and I hate writing reports. I hate writing strategy reports. Vengeance. I have to force myself to do it. So these are the things that we need to do. Organisation structure is vital regardless of the size of your business.
And then more importantly, you need to engage your staff in the organisation. And very often some of the answers can be asked or can be found when you're talking to your staff and you're asking them things like, how can we improve our sales performance? Where are we letting our customers down? How do you think our business should be structured? Should we have flatter structures? Involve your staff. It is really, really key, because in any business, and as you grow, and like Graham says, for one-man bands, it sometimes doesn't make sense to do that. But as you employ people, you need to create an environment where people take accountability and responsibility, because they need to deliver your values, they need to deliver your vision, they need to create your organization. So now that you have a fully engaged plan, you've got a structure to your business, you know who you're going to sell to, what your business looks like, it's time to hit the reset button. So you'll find that there are some staff that you will retain and they'll stay with you forever. They get the core values, they believe in the same thing that you do. Inevitably, we need to retrain some people. They don't really get it. They need some more training on product knowledge. Inevitably, there are going to be people that you need to release. People don't get what you're trying to do.
And they can be damaging to your business if you've got folks that have different values, don't get what you're about. And we sometimes just keep them. They can damage your business. You've got to release them with care and understanding and help them get out and get a different job. We can do that in a respectful way.
If you've identified a specific gap in skills, you need to recruit, but find the person firstly that buys into your core values. Don't just recruit on skills and experience. Recognition, such a small word. You need to recognize people for their achievements. It goes a lot further than monetary recognition, thanking them in front of their peers. And then reward. How do we reward our staff? How do we compare the reward terms in terms of our competitors? Do we offer incentive schemes? Because our staff do have expenses to pay. So we have that old age adage that says what gets measured gets done. So it is very important that you put down some financial and non-financial metrics in your business. So customer complaints is, what are they at now? What's the target? Because that will map your journey. It's sort of a road map, a marker to say, are we going to achieve what we set out we're going to achieve? Are we going to get done what we need to get done in it? You have to make your people accountable. People need to take responsibility for their jobs, and you need to set measurable key performance indicators. And it's no point in setting it if you're not going to follow it through. You need to measure it, whether it's quarterly, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly.
So single person business. If you're weak on sales, retrain. Yeah. If you need to recruit somebody in to support you, not full time, think about it. Recognize what you're doing well and reward yourself for what you're doing well. Single man businesses, single woman businesses, is the same thing applies to them. You can always release yourself if you're not doing a good enough job.
So that accountability goes to every level of the organization. So what's next? Take time out of the business and work in it. So you've understood why you're in business, what you want from your business, what would you like your business to look like, what does it stand for, why your customers are buying for it. You've created a vision. And with the vision comes you've analyzed your clients, your markets, you know where your most valuable customers reside, your employees are all buying into it, so you can go out there and you can deliver this journey. And very often when we do this, people think it's a quick fix solution. Nothing quick is ever fixed. It's a journey, it's a process.
No, I think you're exactly right. That's good.
So how can we help? So this is what we really specialize in. We help organizations plan their growth, whether they're single organizations, whether they have multiple shareholders, family businesses. Family businesses do tend to be a little bit more tricky, a little bit more challenging because everybody needs to be aligned. We don't just do that. We don't just stay there. We provide hands-on support. So we stay with companies. Typically, a lot of the companies that we stay with them for 12, 18, 24, 36 months, depending on how long their strategy lasts, because it's a scary place. All of a sudden, you have to do things completely differently. And more often than not, people aren't there to just be a sounding board to help you. We can help with financing requirements or EFG loans. And we can help you plan to get your business to that saleable point where there's exit planning, where you've got the maximum value in your business to get it from there.
When should you start thinking about exit planning?
When you start your business.
When you start your business. So you can build a business that's sellable from day one.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I would really like to thank all of you for paying attention to what we say. So thank you very much for coming. You can meet and have a chat next door a little bit and just get to know one a little bit better. And we're always available for a cup of coffee just to chat and bounce ideas off. So thank you, everyone.
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very slick. The two presenters worked very well. Quite often attend them, think this is not for me, and I walk away with a blank bit of paper. But today I took a hell of a lot of notes. It's quite easy to get caught up in the day-to-day needs and requirements of the business, but sometimes you just got to take a wee step out and kind of work on the vision and the plan, which is what I'm aiming to do over the next couple of days. And once that plan's done and it's approved by fellow directors, run it past the managers and the rest of the staff as well. So at our next quarterly meeting, you know, that'll get relayed to the rest of the staff, because it's important everybody, no matter what your job is in your company, that we're all on the same page and we're all aligned to take the business forward.
I know these chaps seem to be really good at taking a business from, you know, just nightmare, what do I do, to then refining it. And I think that's the connection I've probably found with these guys today. And I think also a lot of the other business owners who were here, it was interesting to find their opinions on how they achieved it. Some who are further on, some who are not quite so far on. And yeah, it's worth coming along to, just even if it's just for the connections, and even if you're not at the stage of using the services now, it's perhaps something that you're definitely going to need down the line as you grow.
It doesn't matter what age you are, you should still try to learn. And so I was here with an open mind, really interested in being exposed to new things. I think what is helpful sometimes is just to remind you of what you know already, but maybe have forgotten, about what your values are, about why I'm in business, and also probably the other thing is about, it's difficult sometimes to work out who exactly are your customers and who are your best customers, so that's something to give me a way to think about. It really made me think about, I mentioned in the meeting that I intended having a lifestyle business for as long as I wanted, but I'm now beginning to think maybe I should think about scaling it up. So it has changed my perspective.